Bad beats of the week, or as I like to call it, the moose is loose. When you look through last weekend's results, let's start in northern Florida, where Jacksonville and the Bears put together one of the worst games we've seen in the NFL to date. A game that was 3-3 at the half, so you figure you're sitting on an under 41 ticket, you're cashing without concern. Well, the Bears started to pile up points, and it wasn't their offense that did the damage. For the second week in a row, the Bears' defense gets on the board not once, but twice, and thanks to a 38-0 second half, including Blaine Gabbert's philanthropy that included both of those pick sixes, the Bears found a way to put it over the total, but it wasn't without a cruel twist of fate. Armando Allen, trying to run out the clock with about a minute 50 seconds to go, he busts a 46-yard touchdown run, taking the game from 34-3 to 41-3. However, this was still not the worst beat of the week. Georgia Tech and Clemson tried to give that game a run for their money, where the Tigers' largest lead of the game came at 40-31 with under 3 minutes to go in the game. They actually trailed this contest 31-30 with 13 minutes left, and you figure you're holding a Clemson ticket laying double digits. It's as good as garbage. But with under a minute to go, Dabo Swinney, rather than electing to run out the clock, decides, hey, let's try and put more points on the board, hands the ball to Roderick McDowell, who punches in a 1-yard touchdown run with 50 seconds left in the game, culminating a 13-play, 80-yard drive that spanned 5 minutes and 26 seconds. Congratulations, Dabo. You broke the heart of every Georgia Tech backer out there. However, the moose of the week, as you guys all contributed via social media and Twitter, and first off, I didn't know that many people bet the MAC, but that may be a direct reflection of all you guys out there. We can have that degenerate discussion at some later date. Central Michigan, plus 11.5 against Toledo. Typically, when you outscore your opponent's offense 35-29, it's more than enough to cover as a double-digit dog. However, when you're Central Michigan, you invent ways to find a meltdown. Toledo put 3 non-offensive touchdowns on the board that included 2 pick sixes and a punt return, including the back-breaking 31-yard interception return for a touchdown with, hold it, wait for it, 38 seconds to go in the game. Central Michigan only trailed by 5 points with 54 seconds left, yet they somehow find a way not to cover. Toledo backers, go play the lottery. That's what you needed to get to the window with this one, but congratulations, you did cash a ticket. Situational spots, we discussed them a little bit last week. As we get deeper into the college football season, it's much bigger to factor into your handicapping. 3 teams on upset alert that look too good to be true. West Virginia travels to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. This was a Tech team who was abysmal against Oklahoma, at least in the final score they were outdone 40-20. However, on the stat sheet, they were only outstatted by 20 yards. So keep your eye on the Red Raiders as they catch West Virginia making their second trip to the state of Texas in as many weeks, with a date looming against Kansas State. In Nashville, Vanderbilt opens as an 8.5-point underdog against Florida. The Gators have been the talk of the town, and they have a game against South Carolina looming on deck to follow up that emotional effort that it took to beat LSU as they outscored the Tigers 14-6 by putting up 2 second-half touchdowns. One other game on the radar, don't overlook these Iowa State Cyclones who catch Kansas State between a rivalry game against Kansas and their trip to Morgantown, so look out, K-State fans. On the NFL side, from the category of there's a reason the team is favored, the New York Jets, a 3-point favorite this week against the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the Colts off the emotional win in honor of Chuck Pagano, coming back in tremendous fashion to upset Green Bay. The trip to the MetLife Stadium may not be that easy. Look for Dustin Keller to be back in this Jets lineup, and I actually think Mark Sanchez builds off of the performance on Monday night, and the Jets get a much-needed victory, and I think they do it comfortably. The other game to take a look at, Houston, on a short week, catches Green Bay off a loss. Don't underestimate the value of Brian Cushing and what he meant to that Texans defense. I really think even if Greg Jennings isn't 100%, Aaron Rodgers finds a way, and give Coach McCarthy credit, he'll find a way to slow down J.J. Watt. One thing to say, though, guys, when you don't approach the NFL games and saying that laying 3 points is as good as a win, it hasn't quite been the case this year. We've seen a number of instances where teams have won the game outright, yet not covered the 3, not something that we're accustomed to seeing. From the category of mistakes bettors make, I get questions all the time. Guys, money management is the most important skill you can try and utilize throughout the course of the football season. Don't ask the question, how much money can I make? We can all afford to make more money. Ask the question, how much you can afford to lose while you're trying to figure things out. Same time, same place, next week, Todd's Take.
Don Best Sports, what you need to win.